Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. Like I promised, another video to expand a little bit about what we touched on yesterday. We're going to start with the house, okay? And I think the best place to start with that is whether or not you are going to buy and rent. Because look, guys, everybody lives somewhere, and it depends on what your needs are and your wants are that determines which direction you're going to go with that. I would say that the primary concern for most people is location. Second to that would be price. So price and location are your two key factors. And every city is going to be different, but I'm going to speak about Austin as a whole because that's where we operate and that's where I have the most knowledge. I've been doing real estate in Austin for about 8 years now. And I have a pretty good grasp on how it works and helping people find exactly what they're looking for. When you are about to move, say you've been in this city already, okay? You need to figure out, based off of what you've learned about who you are and what you like, where your neighborhood or area of comfort is going to be. Usually that's going to be pretty convenient to your work. Most of the time we work in Central Austin, and a lot of people that move here want to live in Central Austin because it is Austin. It's a place that you want to be. And if you live 30 minutes out, then you feel like you are pretty much in anywhere America, and you don't really have that same connection of where you live and what you love. So usually having convenience of walkability, having convenience of restaurants and bars or coffee shops is a pretty high priority. So when it comes down to renting and buying, if you've been in the city for a little bit and you see that your future is going to stay in that city, then you probably want to consider buying a little bit more if it suits you well. Now, when you go into the market of buying, you need to realize that you will have to make probably one of the biggest decisions in your life besides getting married or having kids. The house is the biggest financial decision that you'll make. So you're going to need to save up money for it, but there are ways to get a house with little down, and we'll do another video about just buying a house because there's a lot of aspect goes in this, but I just want to help you balance out how to make that decision for yourself. So if you have the extra cash and you have the ability to borrow, your credit's good, you might want to consider buying, because if you rent a house, you'll have to pay a security deposit. And that security deposit is usually equal to 1 month's rent. And by the end of the lease, you'll maybe get some of that back, okay? That's not a bad thing, because you're getting a house, and you're usually paying the landlord to kind of take care of the stress for you. So if you don't want to have the responsibility of maintenance and upkeep and remodeling and all these things that go into having a house, then you might just want to rent and let somebody else take care of it. Here's the thing though, if you spend 5 to 10 years in a city and you're renting the same house, by the end of it, you're not going to be left with anything. And then the landlord can always say, hey, we're not going to renew your lease this time, you're going to have to move somewhere else. And when we spend a long period of time anywhere, you get connected. And it kind of hurts to move sometimes, unless the place is really crappy and you just got to get out of there, which is completely understandable and is a reason. So you really have to figure out what's going to be the best play for you. When you are renting, like I said, you're not going to get any of that money back. You might get some security deposit back. But if you're smart with your finances and you have money saved and you have good credit and you're not going anywhere, then buying is probably going to be a very good option for you, because you'll be able to build equity, and equity is just the money on top of the sales price, as whatever price you bought it at, what you can sell it for later on, that's your equity. That's how much money, and you can even borrow off of that during the time that you live there, or when you do sell it, you can cash out and you have, a large amount of money that you didn't have when you started with. So it is a wise decision to buy, depending on the city that you're in and depending on what your needs are, and if the price point works for you and the lifestyle is what you need. Usually though, when you live in a center of town, you're going to sacrifice a lot of square footage for being in a better location. And the price can be the same. Let's say it's $2,000 here for the 3-2. Well, really it'd be like a 2-1 in the center of Austin. And then, out 30, maybe not 30 minutes, but about 15 minutes, it'll be like a 3 to 4 bedroom for the same price. So if you really need a large house, then that might be what you have to do, because in order to buy a large house in the center of Austin, it might be out of your budget. So buying, I would say, long period of time you want to buy. If you don't know what your future holds and you're probably going to leave in the next year or two, then just keep renting and see where it goes. And if you end up wanting to stay, then you might want to consider buying. But I don't like the fact that people are afraid to buy, because there's no security in your home if you don't purchase it. And I say that to bring some truth to the situation, because we are very nomadic these days. We don't stay in the same city that we grew up in most of the time, and we do move around a lot. And then we have a sense of like, well, what if I do need to leave? What if I want to go this way? It's like, yeah, what if, but what are you actually doing? Are you staying here? If you're staying here, then settle in. Build some equity, build a home, grow some roots, If you want to keep moving and traveling around every year or two, just keep running. It's not going to be a big deal for you. The price points can change depending on wherever you're going and whatever your needs are. So we'll talk about that in a later video, but you're going to be much better off in the long run buying versus renting. Does that make sense? Well, we're going to make it short and sweet today, guys. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll go in more depth at a later date. Thank you.